What's going on, guys? It's Tom, or Top 10 Wrestling, and today we're going to be counting down the top 5 worst TNA knockouts of all time. I decided to make a top 5 rather than just a video on one person, because I actually had a fairly hard time narrowing it down to just one, and also I didn't want to talk about the number 1 spot for 10 minutes straight, because that probably would have hurt me. But this video is a response to Marky D123, we'll get onto that in a second, but before we do get into this video, I would like to thank my Patreon supporters, Marky D, Efran Martin, Alan Barkley, Gravedigger33, Jonathan Thompson, NX Gamer, Cedric Cowan, and Paul Gollier for exclusive content and more perks from me. Check out my Patreon, link down below. It would really help me during these trying times and would be really appreciated. But let's stop wasting time and let's just get into this video on the top 5 worst TNA knockouts of all time.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero Kurt Angle, and you are watching Top 10 Wrestling. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
So about a month ago, I made a video called The Worst TNA Wrestler of All Time. But despite the title, I wasn't looking at the objective worst wrestler. I was looking at my personal least favourite wrestler in TNA history. But then Marky D took me completely out of context and made a response video saying, "No Tom, Jesse Neal isn't the worst TNA wrestler," which I know, I never said that, and he made a video saying Rob Terry is the worst. But personally, I don't think Rob Terry is the worst. Yes, Rob Terry was not great, he was terrible in the ring, but at least he was in the British Invasion, which was a decent team. At least he was with Robbie E doing The List, which was a funny YouTube series, and at least we can all look back and laugh at the menagerie. Today, we're going to be going to the women's side of things in TNA, and I'm going to look at 5 TNA knockouts who are worse than Rob Terry was in TNA. Shout outs to the menagerie, let's get into this video. Number 5, Sojourner Bolt. So once again, this pick is more of a personal one from me. I don't think Sojourner Bolt is necessarily the worst TNA knockout of all time, but however, if I was to make a video on my least favourite TNA knockout, like I did with the Jesse Neal video, Sojourner Bolt would probably be number 1, partly because I'm dumb and struggle to pronounce Sojourner, if that's even how you pronounce it. We're just going to call her Sojo Bolt for the rest of this video, like TNA commentary did. Everything that Sojo Bolt was a part of in TNA, I just wasn't a fan of. Sojo made her debut challenging Kong in the 25k challenge to a losing effort, and it was announced in December 2008 that she had been signed to a contract, and she would soon start teaming with Awesome Kong, Raisha Saeed and Raka Khan, and they would form the Kongtourage. Now on one hand, the Kongtourage was a badass looking team. They were very intimidating, especially Sojo, Raka and Kong, who were all large in stature and build. However, the issue is that other than Kong, the other 3 were not impressive in the ring. Raisha Saeed could have been good because that's cheerleader Melissa. However, this gimmick she was playing with Raisha really held her back. And then Raka and Sojo in particular were the 2 weak points of the group. Sojo and Raka would eventually turn on Kong, which did no favours for either of them. Sojo had many knockouts title shots, all of which she lost, and she was also involved in Jenna Maraska vs Sharmell, which of course is considered by many to be the worst TNA match in history. Number 4, Shelly Martinez. Like I just said, I believe Jenna Maraska vs Sharmell to be the worst TNA match in history. However, there are many people that argue that Shelly Martinez was actually part of the worst TNA match of all time, which we'll get onto. If you don't remember Shelly from TNA, you might remember her from WWE, where she was part of the ECW brand as Ariel, who was the valet of Kevin Thorne, and come to think of it, no, you probably won't remember that. Shelly first debuted for TNA in 2007 as Salinas, a valet for Homicide and Hernandez, the Latin American Exchange, aka LAX. She would accompany them to the ring as their valet, while also on the side wrestling matches in the recently formed Knockouts division. The first Salinas match I saw was from Sacrifice 2008, where she wrestled a Battle Royal. She was the first eliminated in the match after she went through the middle rope. Great. Salinas was not great in the ring. The reason she was a valet is because she probably wasn't that great in the ring, and the reason she's not higher on the list is that her main purpose was to be a valet, and that wrestling kind of came second to her really, and most of the wrestling stuff she did do was not great. She quit TNA in late 2008 and went on to make appearances for Dragon Gate USA and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. She would make her one-night TNA return in 2014 under her real name, Shelly Martinez, to wrestle Rebel in what many do believe to be worse than Jenna vs. Sharmell, and after watching the match, I can see the argument. It's complete botch fest, and I wouldn't wish to watch this match upon anyone, but if you really want to torture yourself, give it a watch. This was her final ever TNA appearance, and by God, what an awful way to go out. Number 3, Cookie. Oh boy, where do we begin with Cookie? Cookie first started out her career as Becky Bayless, wrestling and being a valet in promotions such as Ring of Honor, Wrestlicious, and Women's Superstars Uncensored. She made her first appearance for TNA in 2008, answering the Kong 25k challenge, but wouldn't make another appearance or sign for the company until August of 2010, where she became the manager for Robbie E, following the same gimmick Robbie E had of this Jersey Shore snobby type annoying character, and she was basically the female version of Robbie. It's the same thing with Salinas really. Had Cookie not mainly been a manager, then maybe she would rank higher, but she was mainly a manager in TNA, and wrestling very much came second, as she only wrestled fairly occasionally, usually in tag matches, mixed tag matches with Robbie E, where she would be the worst performer in the match, and by God, was her character annoying, and usually, I'd understand, because like I said, it's a character, she's just playing a character, right? However, according to many accounts from Robbie E in shoot interviews, he said that he 1000% hated Cookie in real life and that she was not mature enough to be wrestling for TNA. Damn. Number 2, Rosie Lottalove. You know what? I've talked about Rosie Lottalove so many times on this channel before at this point. I'm just going to play a clip from an older video where I talk about her because I can't be bothered, but it's still relevant to what I would have said here. Roll it. Rosie Lottalove was a female wrestler who wrestled briefly for TNA in 2010. She trained at the Team 3D Wrestling Academy from 2007, and before coming to TNA, she wrestled for promotions such as WXW and Wrestlicious, wrestling the likes of Mercedes Martinez and Tamina. And in 2010, she received a tryout match with TNA, which went horribly wrong. You see, despite having wrestled for 3 years, at this time, Rosie was still not that great in the ring and nowhere near ready for a global platform such as TNA. On April 20th, 2010, she wrestled a tryout dark match against Daphne, in which she botched and injured Daphne after botching like a sit-out kind of ass splash move, whatever, on her. She hit the stiffest splash on Daphne, who ended up with a deeply bruised sternum, a severe stinger, which is a neurological injury which can possibly have permanent effect, and a concussion. All from one damn move, and Daphne still finished the match. Big ups Daphne. Ironically, this took place on 4/20, and TNA management had to have been smoking something because on May 12th, she was officially signed to TNA despite this awful tryout match. She would only ever wrestle 2 matches for the company and would depart just 3 months later, and Daphne would return from the injury a month later on May 26, 2010, and would stay until TNA until March 2011 before departing the company. However, we're not done yet. After Daphne left TNA, she would file a lawsuit against the company for putting her in an unsafe working environment in regards to her match with Rosie. The suit was settled out of court on March 8, 2013. Since this, Daphne has retired from pro wrestling, and Rosie too would retire in 2012, but she would actually come out of retirement in 2014 looking a lot slimmer, actually losing 127 pounds, and she was damn good in the ring, so fair enough to her. She would sign for WWE in 2017 and wrestle under the name Sage Beckett, and even competed in the Mae Young Classic, but she was released a year later. I mean, she would even make a one-time TNA appearance in 2015, losing to Awesome. And coming in at number 1, the worst TNA knockout of all time is Lacey Von Erich. When you're part of a wrestling family and you become a wrestler, there are two arguments that are made for how your career is going to go. One is that it's going to be difficult because you have to live up to your last name and continue your family's legacy, whereas the other argument is that it's going to be easy because you're going to get more opportunities and you have an actual advantage over people from the name power your last name has despite your actual ability. And the latter category is exactly what Lacey Von Erich fell into. Lacey Von Erich debuted in October 2009 as the new member of the Beautiful People, replacing Angelina Love, and let me tell you, she was not worthy of replacing Angelina. She was well and truly the C side of the Beautiful People. She managed to do one thing in TNA that no other woman on this list did, and that's become a champion. Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky won the Knockouts tag titles, and Lacey Von Erich got to defend them with them under the Freebird rule. Lacey was awful in the ring, awful on the mic, and she definitely did not live up to the Von Erich name. She did everything going for her as well, a great look, a second generation wrestler, and in the top women's team, and I really wanted her to do well, and for a time I was trying to become a fan of her because I thought she would improve and get better, but it just never happened. And yeah, in my opinion, she's one of the worst, and I wish she wasn't because she seemed like she was genuinely passionate about wrestling, and I know it's hard being a second generation wrestler, but Lacey just did not live up to the expectations. Before I end the video, I would like to say, first of all, don't go over to Marky or anything. Me and Marky are mates. You might know that already if you've seen any of our past collaboration videos, but me and Marky did have some beef in the past, but that beef literally lasted like an hour, and now we're mates and we've collaborated on many videos which you can find on either of our channels, and we plan to do more work together. So this storyline of me and Marky dissing each other in these videos and responding to each other, it's all storyline, okay? It's all kayfabe. Don't get worked. I have a special message in the outro for all these people getting worked by this storyline. But yeah, me and Marky are mates. Check him out, link down below. Check me out on Twitter at Top10 Wrestling. My Instagram is at I'm Tom Bell. Like this video, subscribe, notifications on. Comment down below what videos you want to see next. And good night, Hulkamaniacs and jabroni marks without a life that don't know it'll work when you work at work and work yourself into a shoot. Marks.
Kickback, chilling out, maxing, relaxing. Summertime with a fantastic kickback. I'ma crack another cold one. Barbecue chicken almost done. Kickback, ayy. All the shorties came through and my friends came too. Survive at the kickback, yeah. And we live in the kickback. What's up? What's up? They making fun of me. They say that I don't season my chicken. That ain't true though, 'cause